These are the men and women of Beaver Valley, the bravest of the brave. They fought fearlessly for their country, their city, their community, and for the ideals we share as Americans. They served proudly in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Here now are their stories, their own experiences in their own words, the words of the heroes of Beaver Valley. 87-year-old Aliquippa native Louis Villa comes from a family of veterans, including his father and uncles, who joined the Italian army to fight in World War I.
I found out who captured my father. It was a guy by the name of General Rommel in the German army. I have pictures of my father in his POW uniform, too, from the Germans. Made everybody wear a big patch on their hearts. And he was a POW for about a year and a half, I guess. After the war was over, my father came back to this country and married a nice Irish girl with red hair, and they had me.
Villa's two older brothers served in World War II, which ended right as he graduated from Aliquippa High School. Still, Villa decided to follow in his family footsteps and enter the military.
I decided when I came of age that I was going to join the Army too, but my mother says, I had enough of this, I'm worried about all you guys, no more. Well, I snuck off and joined the Army.
After infantry training at Camp Breckenridge in Kentucky, Villa went to Fort Bragg, where he had a job as a mailman for his regiment in the 82nd Airborne.
I had my own room. I went to eat breakfast and lunch anytime I wanted to.
Despite his fear of heights, Villa saw Airborne Rangers training and decided that he would like to join them.
I never got over being scared of heights or airplanes. Why I ever joined them guys, I'll never know.
After training, he and his fellow Rangers were shipped off to Japan and then to the front lines of the Korean War.
And I probably lasted 6 or 7 months, and we were fighting every day. And that's when the Chinese were really pounding the United States Army.
In February of 1951, Villa received his first wound, and he was shipped to a Japanese hospital, where he spent 3 months recovering. He was soon back at the front lines.
Now here's where the fun comes in. I got back to the front, and I was there for 2 days. I was wounded again, and captured by the Chinese. There were 8 Rangers captured, and the rest got away. And why I got caught was the regular radio operator, he ran off with everybody else running off. And here's the company commander down there, Captain Carrier. And he hollered up, anybody can operate this XC-22 radio? And I looked around, nobody's volunteered. I can. Dumb. Wrong. They captured me and 6 or 8 other Rangers.
The first prisoner of war camp that Villa was sent to was an old mining camp. He and other military members were put in a schoolhouse on top of a hill. Upon entering the building, Villa's attention was directed towards fellow Rangers who had been captured before him.
There was a guy that says, hey, there's some of your buddies that were captured before me. Your Rangers in the back room. So I went back in the back room. My God, you should have seen them. They were in terrible, terrible shape. I buried 3 of those men with these hands. They don't believe in giving you a shovel or a pick. They were built on a hillside like this to graze. And they had a hard rain that summer. And these bodies walked, there was 5 of them, I think, total. 5 of the bodies washed down into the creek bed.
The Chinese soon decided to move the prisoners to Camp 1 near the Yalu River on the Chinese-Korean border. While marching, Villa saw a familiar face, the company commander, Captain Carrier.
And we're walking along the road, and this Chinese truck comes by, and on the back of that truck was a cage, and inside that cage was Captain Carrier. And we're hollering, Captain Carrier. He was going, oh, oh. He was gone already. They took him up to a place called Pax Palace. You didn't want to go there because you never come back, and he never came back.
Life in the camp was far from pleasant. Prisoners were fed rice only on Chinese holidays and were given sorghum to eat daily.
What is sorghum? Sorghum is what we feed the cows in this country. I guess it was okay to eat it because I'm still breathing.
Prisoners were subjected to Chinese propaganda daily.
The Chinese are not dumb. They've been at this for many, many centuries before the United States was even thought about. You have to attend all these lectures that they would give you on Buhadi, no good, you Americans. This little toy here is called a stool. You sit on that, And if you decide to drop off, you're going to fall off the stool, and then they come and give you a couple cracks across the head.
One day, while standing around with about 20 other men, Villa was asked his opinion on what the Chinese were doing.
I said to these guys, I said, oh, listen to that stuff, that crap. So camp commander was standing up there hiding while I was telling all 20 of these guys not to do this and not to do that. So he takes me into his office, and he gives me a cigarette, tailor-made, wow-wee, and a cup of tea, whoa, whoa, and sits me down. He says, Wheeler, he says, I heard you, what you were saying to those fellow prisoners of yours about not doing this and not doing that. He says, the next time I bring you in here, he says, I'm going to hang you. I got back out of there again, and I told those guys, I don't want to know nothing. And I meant it. No more advice.
Villa would often watch basketball games between American and Chinese teams. He'd also make 2 lifelong friends in the camp, Ben Cummo and Richard Rook.
I'll tell you what, I swear those guys could walk on water. And if God ever made 2 better men than those, I don't know who they are.
As a prisoner of war, Villa existed in a state of unknown and waited for the war to be over.
I don't think I remember anybody saying, oh God, why me, and this and that. When are we going home? I don't remember that. It was something that you had no control over. I was in that camp from May of 1951 till June of 1953, when the peace talks were over and they decided to send us home.
Villa would be released and sent on a 2-week boat trip back to the United States. When he returned home, he had every intention of returning to the Army after his 30-day leave. His mother, however, had other ideas.
She called somebody up and they told her who to contact. And that was the end of my military career. The Army couldn't do enough for us guys, but it wasn't to be. So 3 days after I was home, she's shaking me in bed. Lois, yes, Mom? You better get up, you got to go to work. I said, go to work? I'm in the Army. She says, no more. So I went down to the post office, and I spent the next 40 years carrying mail.
Villa would meet his wife Helena on his mail route. They were married for nearly 60 years and had 2 kids.
Boy, I'll tell you, did I hit a home run. I wasn't worthy of her. I mean that sincerely.
As for his time in the prisoner of war camp, Villa still thinks about his experiences daily.
I don't think you ever get over being a prisoner of war because you never know what's going on, You never know when the war is going to end or sicknesses. I buried, God, how many men. There isn't a day goes by that I don't think about that.